trouble is I tell the same old story to every girl that walks through the door. This is the slickster talking at you, honey. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, both. We gotta both. Yeah. All right, ChroNoSo, North-South Connection. Welcome, JT and Keithy, here on both video and audio. I don't know how I'm Makimi or Shawn Michaels. I got to be honest. That doesn't seem right. It feels like it should be the other way around.
It should be the other way around, but I feel like I may irritate you at some point in this match. So
that's true. You may. Listen, WrestleMania 5 is an awesome show. I hope everyone's enjoying ChroNoSo so far. This is just the beginning. There's a lot more to go. This is the second match on the card, and it's you and I picked it right away. It's one of both of our favorite matches.
Right.
It's a hidden gem in that it's not like an ironically good match, right? Where it's like some people like, oh, you just like that match because it's cheesy or whatever. But like, it's legit really good, big man versus little man style. But also has Akeem, which is one of the best characters of all time. Twin Towers, one of the best teams. And it's got Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura completely in their bag on commentary.
Oh, yeah.
All do this match and this whole show.
Yes. I think that the only thing I have said before is that it's kind of a glorified squash in the fact that both the two teams are completely outmatched as far as like weight goes and stuff like that. And the only thing I said is it would have been fun to switch this with the Bobby Heenan, Jesus Christ, the Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard and Strikeforce match, only because we would have gotten a banger from the Rockers and the Brainbusters, and we would have had pretty much the same outcome from Strikeforce and the Towers. But I would never have given up this match for that because this match is so good.
Right.
It's so good.
And Rockers Brainbusters would have made sense in the construct because they had been feuding on house shows and stuff. So I think that being a blow off of their feud would have made sense. But
you lose so much with not having this match.
Right. Yeah, to your point, you need to keep this. Although Twin Towers ending Strikeforce would have been a good way to keep them hot after the Mega Powers angle as well.
Yeah.
So you could say like not only did they break up the Mega Powers, basically. I mean, Savage Jealousy
they killed Strikeforce.
Working that, they're a big part of it. Now they've also killed Strikeforce.
Yep,
part of that as well. So that could have been a really decent angle for them. So there's not much build here. WrestleMania 5. Do you think? I have to look back at the card, but I feel like it's the Mania with the most tag matches in company history. There's a lot of tag matches on the show, and most of them don't have a story. They're all just like teams thrown together.
No.
Bushwhackers, Usos, Buster, Strikeforce, Hart Foundation, Honky and Hammer. Mm-hmm. This one, Demolition Powers of Pain obviously has a story, but there's a lot of tag. I mean, this is like the peak of their tag depth, but it's interesting how many they put on the show,
right? And
had them just kind of all random,
Which is funny because I think like later on in the years, there's been talks. I know you did a talk recently about having maybe combining when you were doing WrestleMania 7 for War, and you were talking about combining like doing the 6-man with the Hart Foundation or the Hart family versus what was it, Tornado, Tito, and
Valentine, something like that.
And it's funny that this one had like WrestleMania 5. I think it's a I don't know how hidden it is because it's usually people lose it. I think when they talk about like greatest of all time manias, I think 5 is in the discussion. Absolutely.
It's up there. It is long and there is a lot of stuff. I think I personally love 6. WrestleMania 6 is like my favorite personal WrestleMania, but I think 5 objectively is a better version of 6 in that they're both kind of bloated cards with a bunch of random matches, but 5 just the matches click better. The in-ring action is better. Than 6, but I think it's like a similar structure where they just got everyone on the card. It's a long card. I'll take the 6-man event over the 5-man event. I think that's the only thing I would probably pick. Objectively. Subjectively, 6 to me, I'd rather watch than 5. It's funny because my view of 5 was always a little skewed because as a kid, you're getting any tape you can, right? So my buddy had a black box, but I don't think he had it yet at the time of the show, but he had gotten it from like his dad's friend or something. Yeah. And it's the color, I don't know what was up with the TV or the VCR or whatever. The color was super washed out. So it was very yellow. So for many years, this show in my mind had like a yellow hue over it and it made it look super old. And it's just, it took me a long time because until like they released the Manias on DVD or whatever, you know, and I used to rent it obviously, but once I had the copy from him, my viewpoint of the show was always just this weird washed out yellow hue.
It's really funny. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can see that. But I think that one of the funny things too is that, I mean, when you talk about like the WrestleManias, a lot of them tend to be like 1 match or 2 match shows. Yeah. This is, I felt like at least 4 or 5. Because I mean, on GFA Live, we did like a 3-hour show, you know, split up into 3 parts on. It was like you had like the Jake and Andre match was well built. The Demolition Powers of Pain was well built. Obviously, the main event was well built. The Intercontinental title match was well built. Fucking Piper's appearance was well built. I mean, it's just funny how many things were, like you're saying, a bloated card where everybody's on the card so everybody can get a payday. They still had like a lot of matches that were built very well.
Yeah.
None of the tag matches, I think, with the exception of the tag title, built. But getting to this match, this is just, it's great. It almost would have been a better opener. This is, I mean, what was the opener? Was it
good Hercules?
Yeah, that's a good match, but I mean, that's not an opener. I think, I mean, I always look back at like WrestleMania 7, like that opener is like one of the best. I think you said up until probably 10. And then even then, it's like still in the discussion as far as like one of the best openers of all time. And it's because it's got the Rockers and they're in there against Haku and the Barbarian. It's fantastic. This could have been an opener. You probably could have given them 3 more minutes in this match, you know, maybe have another relief spot for the Rockers, you know, another hope spot or whatever. But no, I mean, this is like peak Boss Man and Akeem just beating the piss out of everybody, and I loved it. It was so awesome that they kind of had that little feud with Demolition going into like spring summer, and
we get the 6-man at SummerSlam. It's the one time maybe a 6-man wouldn't have been like. I get why they didn't want to go with like Doug and Andre solo, and Andre's kind of in the Warrior feud.
Yeah.
Honestly, looking back, I think I would have maybe left Andre off that card and put him in Rude's corner for the Warrior match, if you want to have him somewhere. But I think Demolition Twin Towers for the titles should have been on that card.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. That 6-man's good, but
good.
A lot of it also is good because Duggan does the face paint, and that's kind of like that kind of makes it a fun match. But
you could have them both in the corner too. You could have Andre with the Twin Towers and Duggan with the Demolition and have them fight like at ringside or something. I'm just trying to think like a title match we never got like a proper Demolition Twin Towers tag title match, right?
No,
and the Towers are so great. Like, you know, they formed and immediately went into the main event against the Mega Powers. Now they have to come off of that somehow, and having them reset by destroying the Rockers at WrestleMania is a really good way to do it.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the following year, like the Hearts destroy the Bolsheviks,
right?
And then immediately cut a promo saying they want the winners of the tag title.
Yeah.
So I mean,
this is a great reset, right? You put the Towers over big on the biggest show of the year, and then you set them up to face Demolition over the spring and summer on the house shows for the tag titles.
Yeah.
And they're great here. So there's so many like cool little spots in this match. Like the Rockers start hot with like a lot of double team action.
Yep.
And then once the Towers take over, though, is just tremendous. You get the great clothesline from Akeem. That's where the line you referenced earlier. I think he irritated Akeem.
I believe he irritated Akeem.
And then there's a great moment before that too, when I think it's Sean or Marty, I forget which one. They attack Boss Man and they go over and smack Akeem, and he's like, oh, they caught him napping on the apron or whatever, and they did. He really looked like he was like kind of like gazing out into the crowd, and he gets smacked.
Yeah, that was
the Towers on offense is super fun here. Like they have a lot of high impact moves.
Yes,
from their splashes. Boss Man does a power bomb on Shawn Michaels at one point.
Oh, isn't that the one that like Michaels jumps off the top rope and he just catches him.
He
turns it around, and I mean that was one thing too, is that for a big team, I mean, obviously both guys well over 300, you know, 350 even. They were not like slow and plodding. Like they kind of had, like even when Boss Man was heavy, he had that speed. And obviously we see like just 2 years later, he slims down and he's like fast as shit. But Akeem was no slouch, I feel like either. Like I think both of them had incredible stamina for being those big of a guys. And I thought, so that's what I like. Cause I mean, you see that with bigger teams, like the Natural Disasters were no speed demons themselves, you know, but the Towers were. And it's great. It's a great match.
Definitely underrated. I think the gimmick makes him seem like a joke historically. So that hurts him. But like in ring, he was always really good, both as one man gang and as Akeem, both as in control with power offense, selling, stooging around. He was fantastic at stooging as Akeem. I mean, tremendous. So I do think it's sad that he preemptively ends his WWF run when he does. I think he could have had a little bit more longevity. By the time he shows up in WCW in like 95 with the Dungeon of Doom, like he's a little less mobile and he's a little bit more washed at that point. But in his little heyday here in 80, even in Mid-South or whatever, so like 85 to 89, he could definitely go. He was really, really good worker. The finish is great too with the, Rockers have a very brief hope spot, and then Akeem drops the 747 on them.
I like though that one of the things about Akeem / gang is that I feel like with the gang, he might have been a little stale-ish. But then the Akeem, and I know we say it's a terrible gimmick, but it's like Dusty's polka dots, man. He took that and ran with it and was awesome with it, and especially at a time when they were giving terrible gimmicks to people. The Rooster. I mean, it's just like he could have been the Red Rooster.
Him buying in saved it, right? Him buying in made it work. I mean, you could argue that yes, one man gang goes out of gas, but if you put him with Boss Man in that main event feud, he probably bumps back up. So they could have left him as gang.
Yeah, they could have. They could have
in that level of feud. Because then you have the prison guard and the prisoner like kind of come together.
No,
right?
I read something the other day where somebody said that they should have brought him back as the one man gang when Nails debuted. Have him like kind of team up with Nails, and I was like, no, we don't need Nails on television any more than he was in '92. But
we should have had that be one man gang. Screw Nails.
It should have been one man gang. That would have been awesome.
The story would have been there, right? You made me dress like a fool, then you turned on me, and now I'm back. I'm back to what I used to be. It would have been better than Nails.
I'm back, boss man.
So yeah, this match, I like that it's early in the card. The crowd is into it. I'm sad we don't get to see what they do because right as they're fading out after they beat them, Boss Man takes the handcuffs from Slick and it looks like they're going to cuff him and beat him, but they cut away from it. I forget what they have to go to a video package or what, but you never know what they were going to do.
Yeah, it would have been great. I guess the audience at the Trump Tower Plaza Hotel and Casino got to see something we didn't. So,
and Josh Lobro, like in that setting is awesome. Just echoing through Trump Plaza. As both before and then after the match, it's good. It's a perfect match. We should have had it under us the whole time here. It's a perfect early card WrestleMania match.
Yes.
And I don't even know if it even hurts the Rockers because the story of the match and on commentary is so clean and clear that they're just overmatched on size. And they're doing their best. They're trying to stick and move, but the Towers are a main event level tag team. They're
in 1989, you're not going to worry about a team that's outweighed by 200 pounds losing.
Yeah, and they're coming off, only weeks before main eventing the main event with Hogan and Savage. So, I mean, you're right. Like they're right. I mean, they're as main event level team as you can get in early '89.
Yep.
So I think the Rockers don't it doesn't look bad for them in any way. Now, like you said, you could have done Rockers Busters. You could have had Strike Force. Maybe that story even is better if it's Towers because Martel can say, like, when he turns after, like, what, like I don't understand any of this. You made me come back to this team. You agreed to fight these guys that are like huge, bigger than us. I'm coming back from injury. I could have gotten hurt again. So maybe you could have done that and then had Rockers Busters. But I think with how bloated that card is, Rockers Busters isn't going to get the time you need anyway. I mean, I guess it would have got 8 or 9 minutes. It could have had a sprint, but
I mean, they do beat up on Tito like by himself for a little bit. So after Martel leaves, but we'll leave that for the next group to do on the ChroNoSo.
Well, and the Busters are so Busters are so good at dissecting. Like, so that match is cool because they really dissect Tito after Martel leaves. So, like, I don't know if you get that scene. You probably could have. It's perfect. I don't think there's any.
No,
definitely needed.
This is just going back because I guess it's just wishful thinking that we got the big television pay-per-view blow-off of the Busters and the Rockers.
Right.
And you need to do something with Tito and Rick Martel anyway, so why not just utilize that and insert? But again, I would have been more excited to see this match live and in person than Rockers.
Oh, yeah. They really needed another WrestleFest that summer, like a big stadium card where they could have done Demolition Towers, they could have done Rockers Brainbusters.
But I like your SummerSlam '89 rebook for the title. So
yeah, I wouldn't change much about that card, honestly, because the other 6-man's awesome too. The Rockers and Rougeaus, I'd leave that. Buster's Heart Foundation's awesome. You could leave that. And actually, I forget Demolition's not even tag champs at that show. So I guess that's probably why they did it the way they did. So so maybe that's why they did.
Right. That's right. They're not the tag champs. That's right.
Yeah. So I guess
Andre
it
was
matter.
involved in that tag title change anyway. So Andre being at ringside would have made total sense just to have them at ringside. But
I'm less worried about it now. I forget they weren't champions, so I guess doing a 6-man doesn't make a difference at that point. If they're not, the belts wouldn't have been involved anyway. So anyway,
I would have been a lot. I would have been a lot more excited though if there was a quick reign. I mean, granted, you're taking away a tag title reign from Tully and Arn, but it would have been cool if Demolition dropped the belts to the Towers for a little bit.
Yeah,
that would have been fun.
All right. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this installment, this section of this installment of ChroNoSo. Go back and watch this match if you haven't seen it in a while. It's a super lot of fun, and it's quick. It's like, what, 8 or 9 minutes? I think it's pretty short.
Yeah, it's not a long man.
But it's a classic. If you like big versus little in a tag setting, this is it. Like, you get the Rockers flying, stick moving, Towers overpowering, crushing them in the end. And that's that. So check out everything North South Connection. Ryan Gray and I are counting down every single WrestleMania match ever, 402 to 1, in a short format. That's on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, Reels. You can find any of them there. They're all under a minute, and we're just breaking down every single match. This will be on there at some point soon, of course, as will every match on the rest of this card. So stay tuned to ChroNoSo. Check out the rest of WrestleMania 5, and we'll talk to you soon.
You should just start talking at your honey. Well, first they love me, and then they don't. Sometimes they do it, and sometimes they won't. So I said to this girl,
I'm gonna end it right where it always ends.
and she got to a beat and began to shout, "You a die so blind."